I thought we were the protectors of truth. Democrats, Republicans, you all lie. We, a small band of survivors, are on our way to the Steel City to find the resistance. Join us.
Welcome to the Steel City Resistance with Senior Airman Ward Miller and the ironclad voice of Pittsburgh, Hutch Jr., laying down verbal C4 to blow away the lies and the political tomfoolery. Your papers have been cleared. Welcome to the Steel City Resistance.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Steel City Resistance here on our home base, WAAR. We are America Radio, your number one streaming source for political and government talk anywhere. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr., deep down in the bunker on the southern border of the city of Pittsburgh in my Smith & Wesson studio. And let's welcome Mr. Ward Miller from the east end of the city. Good evening, Ward.
Good evening, Hutch. I'm Ward Miller. I'm here in a classified location that I'd rather not talk about. Greetings to everybody in the chat room and to all our fellow resistors. I hope everybody's having a good evening. And this show, I think, is really gonna be one of our better ones. I'm kind of really excited.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, especially when you look at the coverage of some of the items we're going to talk about. We're going to bring you the truth. And so far, you'll hear it at some point, maybe in a month or two. But we're going to break it right here thanks to some good sources that we have that are out there doing the hard work. The chat room is up on Spreaker. Go to steelcityresistance.blogspot.com, and there's a link right there. Please follow me on Spreaker. Subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher. There's like one guy that listens on Stitcher, so I have to keep saying that. Like the Facebook page, facebook.com/steelcityresistance. You can thank Ward for most of the content there. The call-in line, 412-567-1460. And again, the website, steelcityresistance.blogspot.com. There's a donate button there. You can hit that if you can. If not, we still love you. But Ward, I just wanted to give you some statistics, and all to you, ladies and gentlemen, also, because you're the ones that create these statistics. For the longest time, we were struggling keeping Steel City Resistance in the top 25 in Spreaker, news and information, and then subcategory politics. We were right around 27. You know, we'd get in the top 25 every now and then. But after the last 3 weeks, we have moved up. We've rocketed up, Ward, to number 15. So that's really good. I mean, there's thousands, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of shows in this category with professional broadcasters in there. Not the finest broadcasters, but Ed Schultz and Penny Marshall and things like that, Leslie Marshall and others. So congratulations.
I want to take full credit for that.
Okay. You can. But no, really, it definitely peaked when you came on board. I'm all for giving credit where credit's due.
Well, no,
I'll take the first 1,000, and then
you could have the first 1,000. Well, I think that really what peaked was because we became victorious with President Trump or President-elect Trump. I want to drop the elect. I can't wait for 11 days till I can say President Trump. But there we go.
And for your information, for those of you that listen to all the shows, Cold War Radio is at number 11, so they got knocked out of the number 9 slot, but we'll get back up there. It's just it's an honor being in the top 50. To be in the top 25 is it's no joke. You guys are great. I appreciate it. Now we had a debacle that it ended up on our side, but it's just something, the way these Democrats are shell-shocked, Ward. I mean, they are just still in denial, and it's unbelievable to watch these children. There was a certification formality in the House of Representatives, or I guess the entire Congress, because Joe Biden presided over it. So it was a joint session of Congress, I guess. I'm not sure, though. It might have just been in the House, but I'm not positive. But I do know.
No, actually, I think it's the Senate, because I think that the vice president is actually the president of the Senate.
He is, but the House of Representatives had to certify the delegates. And the House of Representatives, when you listen to this clip, they all come out and they try to, all these congresswomen, women and men come out and try to challenge the actual electoral votes of the states. But the protocol is that you have to have a U.S. senator has to sign a document along with a representative. And none of the Democrat senators would sign on to this. They wouldn't sign the documents. So you're going to hear some ridiculous Democrat representatives trying to challenge states as they come up in front of Joe Biden, who's presiding over the thing, over the ceremony or whatever you call it. Certification. And he's gaveling it down. And at the very end, the loudest laugh that you're going to hear, I wish I had the video, but it's a radio show, but Paul Ryan busts out laughing at the end. It's just, it's amazing. But listen to these children, these petulant kids. Let me see where we're at here. We're right. Is this it? Yeah, right here. Let's listen to this.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Massachusetts rise?
Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Alabama. The objection is in writing, signed by a member of the House of Representatives, but not yet by a member of the United States Senate.
In that case, the objection cannot be entertained.
Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia.
Mr. President, I object because people are horrified.
And I object to the certificate.
I have an objection.
Mr. President, I object on the massive voter suppression.
Debate is not in order.
Mr. President, I object to the votes from South Carolina. Mr. President, I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina. Mr. President, I object to the votes from the state of Wisconsin.
Mr. President, I object on behalf of the millions of Americans.
I do not wish to debate. I wish to ask, is there one United States senator who will join me in this letter of rejection?
No debate.
Our vote starts.
In order. The Commonwealth of Virginia has received 227 votes. The chamber will be in order. The change will be in order.
Mr. President, the objection is signed by a member of the House, but not yet by a member of the Senate.
Well, it is over.
So there you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. And what else you heard was protesters being removed. Why they let these people in is beyond me. When you look at them, you can tell that they're protesters. But that was, your regulars, your Sheila Jackson Lee and your Maxine Waters, and then there was some other representatives in there. None of them had a leg to stand on. And Joe Biden, he did the right thing. And I know, like you said, it hurt him, Ward, but it's good to see at least somebody is accepting the results, and let's move the hell on.
Well, it's not only that. These legislators should know the procedure. They should know that, okay, in order for me to make a protest, I have to have a senator sign off on this protest. And every time Biden said, "Did you have a senator?" Nope. You should have known that going in. Apparently, somebody didn't do their homework.
Or they were just trying to make a spectacle.
Well, and that's what they do best. They stomp their feet and they cry, and so I guess somebody needed a hug.
Yeah, is all and it's like you can be as mad as you want and you can be in denial, but in the end, 70 million people voted for the guy, and 70 million people are going to stand with him, and another probably 30 or 40 million sane Americans are going to stand behind him too, the way they did with Obama on the right side. So, I mean, it's just they got to give it up. It's sickening. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are some really outstanding or bad, whichever way you look at it, but there's 3 items at steelcityresistance.blogspot.com. You got to remember, it's not just the show there, but there are 3 articles on there, 3 videos, actually, right on the website. One is of what's Panetta's first name?
Leon
Panetta, former Secretary of Defense and head of the CIA, is in there getting interviewed, and I'm here to tell you, by Wolf Blitzer. And Panetta was deeply involved in the Benghazi situation, and he doesn't have the cover that Hillary Clinton and possibly even John Kerry and Barack Obama have. And this guy is terrified, man. You can hear it in his voice. Ward, I mean, he is dry-throated and everything, man. I mean, he didn't want to be there.
It was a beautiful thing. And the fact that it's Wolf Blitzer that's doing it makes it even better, because that it was like twisting a knife in Wolf Blitzer to have to ask Leon Panetta those questions. So that just made it even more beautiful. You got liberals that they're eating their young.
Oh, yeah, they are. And then there's another video.
Well, not young, because Panetta's an old prick, but whatever.
They all are. But there's another video of the Israeli Defense Forces lined up to get on a bus, and the truck comes and runs them over. This happened yesterday. I think it was in Jerusalem, but yeah, I'll tell you, man, it's brutal, man. This truck they kill him right away, but he already ran over all these guys. I mean, there was no hesitation or anything. It was pretty bad. And then finally, there's a pathetic montage. Hollywood made a farewell video for Barack Obama, and I'm here to tell you, man, these people are stupid. They actually think this guy did something good for this country. It's going to take us years to dig ourselves out from what this communist did. And to hear these people, it's almost like idolatry, Ward. It's like worship. Watching this, man, it's sickening. Kids and everything.
Well, the one that really got me, well, it doesn't get me because she's a lying hag, but it's Rosie O'Donnell. She came out and said that Trump needs to be arrested. And I'm scared. I'm reading this going, okay, what's he need to be arrested for? Because in the United States, in order to be arrested, you have to have charges. The charges have to be filed. Well, what charges would you like to see pressed? She never mentions that. She just thinks he should be arrested. So the first question that came to my mind was, number one, I thought you were leaving this country because he won the election. And so that just basically makes you a lying hag who can't keep, her promises. And so I really have no use for her. She's talentless. She's a hack. I never thought she was funny. She was just an evil, mean, horrific lesbian. Lesbian.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing that got me was Rob Reiner on there saying that the best thing that ever happened to him was Obamacare because he had a pre-existing condition. And I'm thinking, man, you don't have any money left? All that time you were on Archie Bunker, and you have nothing? No, you have to have the government?
And not only that, I mean, he's a multi-million. I mean, he's directed, Oscar-winning pictures. So he's right. He's so damn poor that he can't afford his own health care.
And the other one was
his pre-existing condition is he's a stupid liberal.
Yeah,
that
much.
is a mental illness.
And the one actor, I can't remember his name now. It's a slip of me. The black guy. He was on the. I think he's the one on the commercial with "What's Inside Your Wallet" or whatever. But this guy,
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson comes out there and says that Obamacare was the greatest thing that ever happened because there's people in his family that can't afford it. And I'm thinking, you greedy son of a gun, you can't help your own family out. You're another multimillionaire. But that's the way liberals are, man. Liberals are not very generous, and it's just, it's hideous. Now, Al Sharpton promises a season of civil disobedience. And you know what, Ward? I hope Jeff Sessions or I hope President Trump directs the IRS to press charges on Al Sharpton. He needs to be locked up. And they have crimes.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole list of them. Now the thing is, Sharpton should go crawl back under the rock that he came out from under, because Obama covered him. I'm sure that Obama directed the IRS to leave him alone and not bother him, because he owes I think it's like $4.5 million in taxes. And so I hope he keeps his head poked up, kind of like a groundhog, long enough for them to just blow it off and say, okay, give us our $4.5 million, lock his ass up until he does. And I think they should do the exact same thing to George Soros, have him, declared a treasonous bastard is what he is, and he owes money in taxes too. So instead of maybe keeping him from funding some sort of riots or whatnot, he can pay his damn taxes.
Absolutely, man. He needs that's good, like a groundhog. You're right. Go ahead and stick your head up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have another show, Cold War Radio, and sometimes when you do things, you have to put a name on it. So we have a GoFundMe campaign, GoFundMe.com/Cold War Radio. If you can help out, we're trying to get some equipment upgrades. We travel around a lot, and we're just the Wayne Dupree Show, and I'm part of the Wayne Dupree Show, but we're getting ready to go syndicated national on AM radio, and there's just some things that we want to do. So every now and then we have to make a push for that and see if we can get some help, because obviously we don't have any sponsors. This is all on our own, so anything you can do, we appreciate it. Now, finally, the Obamas had a farewell bash at the White House this weekend, and the stars were all there, all these wonderful people, till some of them were there until 4 a.m. And then you wonder,
well, that's when
these
the code
people,
ran out.
some of them are some of them are in their 70s, but some of them aren't. But this is, and then when the stars die, they wonder why. They act like children their entire lives, man. They don't even have an ounce of capability in their minds to research anything. They do what they're told, and they go to these parties, and the Obamas are no different. That's the way these people are. And then they put the flag at half-mast when Whitney Houston dies, It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, what do you expect? This administration, has been run by Jay-Z and Beyonce. That was the big deal, was that they were able to get them to come to the, to the inauguration, and that was a big thing. I'm glad that these these so-called A-listers aren't showing up for Trump's inauguration, and Trump said he doesn't want them there. He wants the American people there. He wants Americans to celebrate the fact that we won the election, that America won. It wasn't the A-listers from whatever insert TV show here. He doesn't care about them. It's the American people that won. We won. That's because we're going to actually be able to have our country survive. And come back. We're going to become the phoenixes. We're going to rise from the ashes that were left from this demonic piece of crap that we've had to suffer through for 8 years. Do I sound bitter? Just wondering if I'm coming across as bitter. I'm trying not to.
Well, it's bittersweet because we won. So what we'll have playing the inauguration is the 1st Cavalry Division's coming. They're going to play. We should have some some Christian choirs and things like that. But
the Mormon Tabernacle choir's coming, and there's Pittsburgh's own Jackie Evancho is going to be there, and she's going to sing, I think, America the Beautiful. It's either America the Beautiful or Star Spangled Banner. And for anybody who doesn't remember, she's the young girl who a talent. She was an opera singer and a child prodigy. She was like 11 or something. And she came on and she blew the doors off the place. And she's still singing, of course. But now she's like 16, 17 years old. She just released an album. And when she said that, yeah, she'd do the Trump thing,
sales are rocketing.
Her album went to number one. So
absolutely.
God bless her. It's one of them things where we've been telling people, get on the jump on the Trump train. It's time. No. And what's going to happen is these idiots, Tommy Lee from Motley Crue posted a thing. If you voted for Trump, quit following me. So, well, I did. So, screw him, Crue, and I said it publicly. I really don't. You want to don't challenge me to do things because I will.
Now, one more thing, and as soon as we get done with this, we'll go directly to your calls. But Ward, the Pittsburgh Steelers were victorious today, and it made me think of something. It made me think of Colin Kaepernick, or however you say the moron's name.
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick. Never met a black dude with that last name before, but anyway, one of the things that you never saw at any Pittsburgh Steelers sideline during the national anthem was anybody taking a knee. And I just wanted to bring to the attention of everybody one of the reasons why that is. And that reason is Alejandro Villanueva. And this dude, they called him the Giant when he was on tour in Afghanistan. He's number 78, and he plays offensive tackle. He's one of the big guys, one of the O-line. And this guy is an Army captain.
He's also an
Army Ranger captain. And did several tours.
6'8". He makes Big Ben look little. He makes Big Ben look like Little Ben.
He served 3 tours of duty in Afghanistan, and then he went to the Eagles, and they didn't want him. He played for the Black Knights in the Army. But I'll tell you, can you imagine kneeling for the national anthem and he's standing next to you?
Not live to tell about it.
All right. I'm going to take the calls in order. Hickory, good evening. What's on your mind?
Well, Happy New Year and surprise, surprise, Hutch. It's LJ, Hickory's wife, not Hickory.
All right. Look at that. How are you doing tonight?
I'm well, thank you. And, Kaepernick doesn't sound like a black guy's name because he was adopted.
That's true.
As was the Obama girls.
I hear that too. You're absolutely right. I did hear that, and I've actually seen pictures of their actual parents.
I want to see 2 things. I want to see a picture of Big Mike in a bikini down in Hawaii, and I want to see a picture of Big Mike pregnant. Show me those 2 things, and we'll change the conversation.
Well, that's
what else is on? That's all you got. Nothing else is on your mind? I'm used to longer calls from Hickory's channel.
I know. I had something to say, and it blew my mind as I was listening to your speaking there. But what was I going to say? I have no idea. Yeah, he has no idea. Anyway,
maybe about the partying in the White House, or
the party in the White House, and a lot of the deception that's been going on. And I posted a bunch of questions on Twitter about how people are raising their children and the deception and the issue of CERN. I don't know if you've spoken about CERN at all. What's going on there in Switzerland? I think it's Switzerland, where they're perforating the veil to allow the evil spirit world into our world. I know that sounds a little conspiratorial, but it's happening. It's very true. All of the satanic invasion that we're seeing with Hollywood and with what our kids are seeing, and that might have been one of the things on my mind, is what we are allowing our children to see that they should not be seeing, because the eyes are the window to the soul, and we see things like Miley Cyrus and Beyonce and Lady Gaga, and I've got countless friends with kids that are literally embracing all this nonsense and fearing Trump because they have gay friends and they're afraid he's going to pose some kind of a threat to them. These kids are lost. It's a
Well, I'll tell you. Go ahead, Ward.
Well, what I was going to say is part of the problem is it's the education system is they're being taught that Muslims are our friends. And
right.
Islam is not your friend. And the fact that they have gay friends or whatever, and number one, Trump is probably the most pro-gay president that there has been. Number one. Number two.
Other than Obama.
Obama's the first gay president.
Yeah.
But he's also a Muslim, so that doesn't really count. And the thing is, like I've said on the show before, Hillary has taken money from the countries, the Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Yemen, all these other countries, all these Muslim countries that want to take gay people and either A, behead them, or B, throw them off of buildings. Right. And they refuse to pass that on. It's the same thing as there was a mass shooting at Fort Hood, and it was workplace violence, except for the fact that Nadar Hassim Ali Baba, whatever the hell his name was yelling Allahu Akbar as he pulled the trigger. As soon as that happens, that is an act of terrorism. Period.
And thank you for your call, Mrs. Hickory. Please call back again. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
You're right, and it's something that I would even venture. I'm getting tired of calling this terrorism. This is war. I mean, when you think about it, they have declared war on us. We're just too stupid to realize it. Big Rich from New York City, you're on. What's going on?
Not much. Good evening, Mr. Ward, Mr. Hutch. How you doing tonight?
Oh, doing wonderful.
Good. Yourself?
Talk about the celebrity. You know which one celebrity really disappointed me? Hank Williams, or the guy that played Private Ryan.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. I always thought this guy was, real, true American. And him to affiliate himself with Obama after he made all these great Vietnam movies, he even advocated to have a Vietnam War building and stuff like that. And him to come out and just devour Trump like that, that really disappointed me.
Did you watch the video on the website with the one that Hollywood people put out?
Yep.
Did you see Tom Hanks in that? It was sickening.
He broke my heart, this man. I used to thought he was a real Americana, a true patriot, and he just wiped all that stuff with this respect I have for this man. I would never, ever again watch any of his movies or give him any kind of support. Just think about the movies he has done. There were serious movie that was happening in
the Apollo movie.
Yeah, that was true Americana. What happened to this guy? How he did a 360 all of a sudden?
The thing is, you're absolutely right. That's how we have to go about letting these A-list celebrities know you are on the wrong side of history. Is instead of saying, we can get on Steel City Resistance or Cold War Radio or Wayne's show or whatever, and we can say, you know what, I'm really upset with Samuel L. Jackson for showing up in that, or Tom Hanks. Instead, let's vote with our wallets and say, hey, you know what, I don't believe in what you're saying. You don't stand for me. You don't believe in the same set of values that I believe in. So I'm not going to pay $17 to go watch you in a movie theater. And and that's how we send the message. It's not, like I said, we can post stuff on our webpage, and we will, of course, and as well as on our Facebook page and whatnot. But the bottom line is, and that's what we got to do, is get the word out and say, hey, these people are the ones, Leonardo DiCaprio, I can go on. And all these people that want to, that are so in the tank for Obama and think that, Trump is the worst thing that ever happened and we're all deplorable and et cetera. Because, that's the bottom line, right? If it's one of them things where if you voted for Trump, or if you don't believe in the Democratic Party, you're a deplorable. So I'm going to take my deplorable money and keep it in my deplorable pocket, and not go watch your deplorable movie.
And Hutch, regarding Pittsburgh, I mean, they must be really excited if Trump's going to go all out to build these warships. I mean, those factories must be, I hope they're in heaven, and they hire as many people they can to get that state going again, you know?
Well, yeah, and actually they're gonna build those in Norfolk, and then they're not going to build them here. I will
not
tell
use
you,
any steel material from Pittsburgh?
We'd have to rebuild some steel mills first. We don't have anything capable of that. But the thing is that it's headquartered here. United States Steel is still here. But just a trivial fact, you were talking about Tom Hanks and Saving Private Ryan and things like that. All of those landing craft that you saw throughout World War II were all built in Coriopolis, right outside of Pittsburgh. So that's just a fact. Mr. Torres, thanks for calling. Call back again.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy your evening.
You too. Ladies and gentlemen, your weekly Jihad report. December 31st to January 6th, 50 Jihad attacks, 297 killed, 450 injured, 10 suicide blasts, all this occurring in 17 countries. The Religion of Peace atrocity of the week, 10-year-old girl used as a human bomb. Other recent misunderstandings of Islam. On the 8th, in Israel, 3 women are among 4 deliberately mowed down by Palestinian truck driver. Video at steelcityresistance.blogspot.com. On the 7th, Syria, at least 48 people are incinerated by a tanker rigged with explosives by the Islamic State. On the 6th, in Syria, a magician is beheaded by a Sharia court. On the 6th, in Afghanistan, 9 Shiite mine workers are singled out and executed by Sunni hardliners. On the 5th, in Iraq, a Shaheed suicide bomber targets a row of food shops, killing 11 innocents. On the 4th, in the Philippines, Muslim rebels storm a jail and kill a guard. Ladies and gentlemen, Islam happens. Last year, there were at least 2,474 deadly Islamic terror attacks in 61 countries that claimed over 21,237 lives.
Wow.
Lives. All other world religions accounted for about 4. And the religion of peace, ladies and gentlemen, one body at a time. Let's
Hutch, wait a second, Hutch. We just have breaking news. David Copperfield is not going to play Syria now.
Yeah, that's good for him. All magicians, take notice.
I'm sorry.
Let's welcome Adrian from Ontario to the program. Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much, Hutch. Appreciate that.
Did you get a new Skype account, or this is the first successful call?
I know, it's amazing. I was pressing it 4 times and it finally worked. So there you go. I just wanted to say a couple of things. I'm not going to be rude. I just want to make this point. One battle does not make a war. I mean, that's fairly obvious, isn't it? And the point I want to make is I don't trust the Democrats any more than I trust the liberal communists up here. And
I don't trust the Republicans that much either.
No, I hear you there. But what I think is that what they're doing right now is analysing how they lost and where they're going to be able to come back and try and take some seats back. I mean, that is...
Adrian, I got to tell you, I think you're wrong. I think there's some people maybe inside the apparatus,
yes,
the apparatchiks that are doing that, but the players are still in denial. You could hear it on the House floor.
Oh, I agree.
And you look, the pundits are the same way.
Yeah,
they haven't accepted it yet.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I wanted to say, and I'm biased because I want to talk a little bit about where I am, is that you have a $17.9 trillion economy. Okay. We have about a $1.4 trillion economy. You have a $21 trillion debt, and we're going to have a $1 trillion debt. So we're catching you up fast.
I wish it was only 19 trillion. It's really, if you look at all the unfunded liabilities, it's in the hundreds.
I know. And what we're suffering from now, as I put on my comments, is that we've got the carbon tax now being imposed upon us, and it's absolutely terrifying what they're doing. And
Adrian, you have a large audience listening to you right now.
Yes.
And believe it or not, there's several from Canada.
I know.
Why don't you tell everybody about your podcast?
Well, I do a podcast in Canada called A Radio, and you can find me on Spreaker. And basically, I'm doing major stuff at the moment because our liberal communist leader is floating around the country trying to justify his existence. And I'm doing a thing on basically every other day on Agenda 2030. And people need to know about Agenda 2030 because it's basically being driven by the United Nations and George Soros. And
when did they change the name to 2030?
They did that about a year ago now. And basically, the idea is that it's for things that are going to be implemented by 2030. And if you know what's happened in Mexico in the last few days, that's because of Agenda 2030. Because of the higher taxes, the 20% increase in gas. As of January the 1st, we've had a 15% increase in gas.
Well, I'll tell you, Adrian, Pittsburgh is a hotbed for Agenda 2030. We always called it Agenda 21, but I guess they're more targeted now. But we have some of our most majestic avenues in this city have been cobbled with bike lanes, with barriers, with boundaries.
I know, it's terrifying. As one other thing, if I just touch briefly, I'm going to put a video on my website, which is aradio.wordpress.com. Sorry to put an advert there.
Now, ladies and gentlemen that are in the American audience, don't look up A Radio. It's EH.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Radio. That's a Canadian thing. If you're in the
chat
room, you know what we're talking about. But
it's a joke.
I know, but you want them to go to the website, so you
yes, I do.
That.
I apologise. I'm going to put a video up from a gentleman by the name of Tariq Fatah. And he has done an interview in front of the Senate in Canada explaining about these Muslims and how they've infiltrated into every walk of society in Canada. And I want people to watch it. It's not mine. It's a government video. It's about 40 minutes long, but it is quite frightening. I'll give you one brief example. The police in Canada are not allowed to enter the mosques unless they give 24-hour notice. How ridiculous is that?
Oh, I know. It's everywhere. I mean, you can see that stuff on my site, too. It's bad, and we'll keep on it. Hey, thanks for calling.
Thank you for your time.
Call back again. I'd like to hear you make a successful call. It's outstanding.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye-bye.
All right, Ward, let's get into this WikiLeaks thing. This is from the Gateway Pundit and Jim Hoft, and there's breaking news. WikiLeaks is going to hold a press conference on Monday to respond to this CIA Russia garbage. And I want to get into some of these details. I know we're not going to sit here and go over the whole thing, but they're going to hold a press conference tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, and it's going to be quite interesting. An article overnight from SputnikNews.com regarding the highly anticipated declassified U.S. intelligence report information included in the report. It was published in 2012. The intelligence report was supposed to prove that Russia supported Donald Trump in the recent U.S. election for president. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, and listen to the contrast of what every single correspondent on the corporate media is telling you. The annex in the declassified report contains so-called evidence from Russia Today, RT, that was compiled in December 2012, right after the re-election of Barack Obama. The report focuses on television shows and interviews that took place 4 years before Donald Trump was elected and well before he was even a politician. In Annex A of the report, intelligence agencies claim that Kremlin's TV seeks to influence politics, fuel discontent in the United States. Buried at the bottom of that page is a note stating this annex was originally published on 11 December 2012 by the Open Source Center, now the Open Source Enterprise. How lazy can our media be, Ward?
Well, the thing is that they don't get into the fact that Russia Today is basically like the National Enquirer. That's Russia's version. I mean, number one, they're a joke media, and the fact that our intelligence agencies take them as a credible source is an issue in the first place. Number two, when you start talking about this so-called hacking and John McCain gets into his evil mind, he's going to do something and he's stomping his feet and something needs to be done and we need to have laws. Here's some examples of hacking activity that's occurred, and John McCain was nowhere to be found. April 2009, the U.S. electrical grid was hacked. In April 2009, also, the Pentagon Joint Strike Fighter Project was hacked. In March of 2012, NASA was hacked. In February 2013, the Department of Energy was hacked. In December 2013, the Federal Election Commission was hacked. In September 2014, the U.S. Postal Service was hacked. In September 2014, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Admin was hacked. Why anybody'd hack that, I have no idea. October 2014, they hacked the White House. November 2014, they hacked the State Department. April 2015, they hacked the Department of Defense. In May of 2015, the Internal Revenue Service, and June 15th, Office of Personnel Management.
That was a big one. I got my information on that one.
Yeah, all of these hacks occurred, and I did not see John McCain not one time, stand up and say something needs to be done about this. Now, there is a rumor that the Russians had something to do with basically telling the American people the truth about what the DNC was doing. That's basically the hack. The hack that they're claiming was that the Russians hacked the DNC, released the data that the truth that the DNC was sending around, because at no point has any of that information been claimed to be untrue. And once they did that, then here's the other part that gets me with this whole investigation. When the DNC was hacked, the FBI said we want the server to do our own investigation, right. And the DNC refused to give them the server. So how can they say that the DNC was hacked by the Russians when the FBI was denied access to the server that was supposedly hacked?
And watch what you see tomorrow at 9 a.m. I wouldn't be surprised if the person that actually gave WikiLeaks the information is at the news conference. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But first, I want you to listen. Now, this is Megyn Kelly of MSNBC fame. This is her last broadcast on the Fox News channel. And she brings Representative Mike Hoekstra, a former Intelligence Committee chair, on the show, thinking that he's going to go right along with this. And I want you to listen to his answers. And I want you to remember, especially, Fox News is still telling you, Fox News is no better than the rest of them. Fox News is still adamantly supporting this whole BS movement. And they're still trumpeting 17 intelligence agencies. I want you to listen to this guy. This guy is Thug Life. They should play Thug Life music behind Mike Hoekstra when he starts answering Megyn Kelly. And I want you to listen to how many times she's so frustrated she doesn't know what to do. She's not a very good correspondent. I want you to listen to this clip. It's amazing.
Trump said he, quote, learned a lot from the intel briefing, but he reportedly declined to say whether he accepts Russia's role in our election. And then just moments ago on this channel, close Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway suggested that the intel community has become politicized. Former Michigan Congressman Pete Hoekstra served as House Intel Committee chairman and is an informal advisor to the Trump transition team. Good to see you tonight, Congressman. So this makes it pretty clear. Let me ask you whether you accept the conclusion of these 17 agencies that Russia did interfere with our presidential election and that it came at the direction of Vladimir Putin.
Well, I think, let me make 3 points, Megan. Number one, it wasn't all 17 agencies. It's one of the things that hits you very, very quickly. This was only 3 of the agencies. DHS does not have its name on this report. The Defense Intelligence Agency does not have its name on this report. It's only 3 agencies. The second thing is, and this is a structural problem in terms of how the intelligence community does its analysis. I found it interesting that, Tony Schaefer was talking about red teams. I think in intelligence analysis, you should always have a red team that provides a dissenting point of view. That is missing in this report. And thirdly, the report is 5 pages. About 1 page of that 5 pages talks about propaganda, and it is based heavily on the reporting of RT television. That stands for Russian television, so it's hard to not understand that it's propaganda. And if you've ever watched the programming of RT television, it's pretty much a joke. And if that's serious, efforts to influence our campaigns, or that's what the intelligence community says is the best that Russia can do in terms of propaganda, they've got a lot of improvement to do.
So, just to put a fine point on it, you don't believe them.
No, I said there. I
know, but everything you said was undermining the credibility of the report. So I'm asking you flat out whether you believe it and you accept it.
I'm giving you a red team analysis that says
I know,
the
but I'm
report
asking
that
for your
came out
opinion.
today is not compelling. It is not compelling to me that as firmly as what this report points out that says, I believe there's certain parts of this that are true, but I think there's enough caveats here that you don't walk away and say, wow, they nailed this and they hit it out of the park. That's this
Catherine
report,
Herridge said
this
their
analysis
opinions
does not do it.
We nailed it. They're A+ intelligence the way they. But why? Why were they so confident?
No, they claim it's A+ intelligence in their report. I haven't seen the classified data that says they really have or they really haven't. They claim that.
Got it. Pete Hoekstra. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Joining me now with more, Mark Thiessen, an American.
So, yeah, pretty much Hoekstra, Pete Hoekstra, thug life, man. He backhand slapped her, man. I mean, it was what a wonderful answer. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, it goes back to the fact that the media doesn't understand what's going on, and they just take whatever talking points are handed to them, and they parrot them out. And instead of looking into it, someone in the chat room actually hit the nail right on the head, and I'm trying to see where it was. Somebody would just say, okay, Jack A. Martin, I'm not sure what your name means, but said, I thought it was the FBI, CIA, and NSA, 3 agencies. You're absolutely right. And initially, it was just the CIA, and in fact, we had a clip from last week from Loretta Lynch in the Department of Justice saying that there was no evidence of any sort of Russian involvement. And then all of a sudden, the FBI and the NSA is on board. Well, NSA falls under the Homeland Security, and the FBI falls under Department of Justice. After Comey came out and said that there was no, I can't understand how they come out and their directors come out and say there was no evidence of this, and then a week later they say, there was. I guess, that must be after they've gotten the memo from the White House that said, you're supposed to agree with us. And then they do.
And the thing is, too, it's not the CIA and the DNI, it's the leaders of those groups. There's all kinds of patriots that work for these agencies. It's these political appointees. I mean, maybe toward the end of the show, I'll play a clip of Brennan during an obscure event that he was at, talking to Muslims about how great Islam is. I mean, this guy speaks fluent Arabic. There's rumors, there's testimony from former CIA agents that James Brennan is a Muslim. He converted to Muslim.
He is.
He converted to Islam while he was a station chief in Saudi Arabia.
In fact, if you watch the movie Zero Dark 30, he's depicted in the movie as being, the CIA handler comes walking into his office as he's praying to Mecca.
Yeah. I mean, this is something they've infiltrated the entire United States government, including the Republican Party. And I would ask you to go to steelcityresistance.blogspot.com, and James Gaffney has a college-level course in the research room on the web. That's one of the pages of the website, is the research room. If you go in there, there's a 10-part college-level course, and one of the chapters describes Grover Norquist's office that happened to be adjacent to Gaffney's office. And it's just it's a tremendous expose. And, I attend CPAC all the time, and I've seen Suhail Khan at CPAC. I mean, this guy's father built mosques. It's unbelievable. We got to get a handle on this, and I think Donald J. Trump is the man to do that. Let's shift to Florida, where we had another white Hispanic shooter. Just quickly, Florida shooter Esteban Santiago joined Myspace under name Aashiq Hammad and recorded a song with Shahada, who's a Islamic rapper, if you will, something like that. But the problem is there were pictures on social media of this guy in Islamic garb, which came to you from Waleed Shubat, and he walked in to the FBI office in Anchorage, Alaska, and told him that ISIS was influencing him and all these other things. What is wrong with our FBI? Man, somebody has to go into these agencies and has to clean house. I mean, this is every single attack on the United States of America and in Europe. These people have all been on radar of some law enforcement or military agency. What is going on?
I've said it before previously on the show, and I don't know if I've said it lately, but I'm going to say it again. I think that what needs to be done, and maybe Trump will do it because he's the only one with the balls that's going to do it, because Lord knows Obama wouldn't, and thankfully he only has 11 days, and we only have to mention him for another 11 days. But once Trump gets in, he should turn and say issue a press release to the world after he basically jettisons the United Nations and says we're no longer a part, and tells these Islamic countries as part of our leaving the United Nations. If another terrorist attack occurs in the United States, we will bomb Mecca with a nuclear warhead, and it will glow for 5,000 years and will be uninhabitable. And if you want to test our resolve, do it. A single shot fired at an American while yelling Allahu Akbar causes Mecca to glow.
And I'm going to take it a step further. 412-567-1460 if you'd like to opine on this or anything else we're talking about. But I would say this is where I've lost the conservative movement and people like John McCain and things like that. And why am I so low? Can people hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, well, we'll just go with that. But I would say this is the reason that you have a decent relationship with Russia, because we have a common enemy. I mean, we're sitting here. Russia is a Western country. All of Europe is quote-unquote Western. We are all at risk here. And this is where I break from some of the so-called conservatives like McCain, the warmongers, and say, we have a common problem here, just like we did in World War II. And it would be nice to have other countries of like-minded, maybe our ideology is different, and maybe they're much more repressive in Russia. But that being said, the difference between us and Russia And the difference between us and any Islamic country is like night and day. Let's take these people out, then we'll worry about our differences at a later time.
Well, I mean, it goes back to World War II. I mean, Russia was our ally during World War II because why? We had a common enemy in the Germans. And the same thing goes for Putin already won't allow Muslims to come into Russia and because they've tried to come in and do their Sharia law, et cetera, et cetera. He said, if you want Sharia law and you want your own laws, go to your own country. Get out.
Absolutely, and that's 100% correct, and that's what should happen here, and maybe it will soon. Let's welcome Carrie to the program from Florida. Good evening, Carrie.
Good evening, Mr. Bailey. Good evening, Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller,
yes.
You get 2 thumbs up, 2 big toes up for that statement. That's correct, 1,000%. You shoot us, we will make you glow for the next time. We will send you to see your fake God. I agree with that. Make them glow. Make Mecca glow. Make it glow. Turn it into a damn parking lot.
During Hajj.
It doesn't matter when. It's always full enough and bottom because that's all I have over there. It's just them. Why is it that they go everywhere where they're not wanted, but won't let anybody in to where they are?
Right. There's no question. I mean, this show is completely anti-Islamic, and it has been since the first episode. This is something. It's one of the reasons that we started the show. Was the absolute ridiculousness with which, especially liberals in America, and frankly, it's worse in Europe. It's worse in Europe.
It's not even a religion, Mr. Bailey.
You're correct. It's a political movement.
It is a political system with a religious element to it. If Islam is a religion, then guess what? Nazis was a religion. Communism is a religion. Bottom line, it's not a religion. It is a political system, nothing but a bunch of rules and regulations with a small religious element. Prayer. That's it. It's not a religion.
It's a cult, actually, and a political system. And Ward can tell you, I've been saying that for years. But
I agree.
The thing is, the reason that they mask it as a religion is to use our own Constitution against us, and they'll tell you that.
Of course. They say that right in their own writings. They've said that in broadcast, and but we're supposed to be polite. That's why political correctness has got to go. Political correctness is nothing more than I'm going to call you a bad name, and you have to prove that you're not it, and that will shut you up. I don't care what the heck you call me. You're not. No man defines me. Okay, you're going to get your feelings hurt with much quickness. I'm going to come up with a statement. I got. You know what? You mess with me, I will make you glow for 1,000 years.
Amen.
That's from my good friend, Mr. Ward Miller. Speaking of that, Mr. Miller, I haven't had a chance to tell you. I haven't had a chance to tell you, sir.
Here it comes.
Your upgrade is on its way, folks. We got to help. We got to support. This is the new media. We are the new media, Mr. Miller, Mr. Bailey. We are the new media. We've got to support these people. We've got to get them going national. Let's now. I believe, Mr. Bailey. I believe you're going to be doing a Monday show, right?
Well, that's what the numbers are looking like so far. We got a couple more days.
Any thoughts? Any thoughts on maybe a co-host? Maybe
we'll
ask Mr. Ward. I was thinking what a perfect fit would be to have Stacey, because Stacey's on with Wayne.
Well, the thing is that
on Mondays
Gary,
as well. Oh yeah,
Gary,
she got a kid.
The thing is that people, I'm crazy.
Yeah,
I'm
you are.
on the air. I'm on the air so much that I'm just lucky that I have a family that enables me to do that. You know, a lot of other people, they can't squeeze this many days into the studio. But
truth is, they're happy he's in the garage.
Yeah,
Right.
That's true.
Well, but I'm just look. All I'm telling you, folks, is look, Mr. Bailey, you better get ready. You better get used to some 12 and 16-hour days, sir, because it's
Well,
coming.
we'll see
Your upgrade's coming, and Mr. Miller, your upgrade's on the way. Let's help our brothers out, man. Let's get them to the big time. Let's get them to the next level. Thank you for all you do, Mr. Bailey. Thank you for all you do, Mr. Miller. Thank you for your time, sir. Y'all have a great show.
Hey, Kerry, thank you for everything you do inside the chat room and everything else. We appreciate your support. We really do.
Absolutely. No problem, sir. Just doing what I can to help you all be the best you all can be.
Thank you. Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, 412-567-1460. You can find Kerry in the chat room every time we're on the air. A great help to us. But yeah, I'm not sure there's a poll right now at steelcityresistance.blogspot.com. We canceled the Cold War Radio episodes on Friday night because the Wayne Dupree program has gone to 3 hours on Friday night starting at 8 p.m. And the poll question asks if we should replace that episode with an episode at 8 p.m. on Monday or an episode 8 p.m. on Wednesday, or there's a place for other, and there's also a place for, no, don't replace it. You work hard enough already, Hutch. And right now, Monday's winning, Ward, so that's what that was all about. Let's talk about what Donald Trump and the Navy are talking about. This is the title of the show, and Big Rich talked about it earlier. This is something that is really thrilling because our Navy is, and I'm going to get this wrong, but the idea is right. The Navy is at like pre-World War I levels or something when it comes to ships, Ward.
Yeah, it. In fact, there's the thing where Obama's recalled all of the aircraft carriers. Currently, there are 0 aircraft carriers stationed around the globe.
At sea, right?
At sea right now, and that is in and of itself a terrifying notion. And
one of the reasons for that is what we reported, word about the South China Sea. You've got countries out there that know that, and they're taking full advantage of it and blockading off areas and putting air defense and ship defense systems in huge lanes of the Pacific, and things are happening in the Atlantic too. I mean, this is the reason, for those of you who don't follow it exclusively like we do, this is the reason that Russia annexed Crimea and is in Ukraine, because that's their naval hub.
Yeah, we can't get at it. I mean, we can. Let's be real. I mean, we can do a lot of stuff, and we are not going to talk about the stuff we can and can't do. But we should have aircraft carriers in different parts of the world just for rapid response, if for nothing else. And currently, we don't.
And the thing about the Navy is that you don't just do an I dream of Jeannie and cross your arms and blink your eyes and an aircraft carrier shows up. It takes years to build those things. And,
well, not even build it, just to get it to places.
Right. I mean, and this is from Real Clear Defense by David Sharp, coming out of Bath, Maine. With President-elect Donald Trump demanding more ships, the Navy is proposing the biggest shipbuilding boom since the end of the Cold War to meet threats from a resurgent Russia and saber-rattling China. The Navy's 355-ship proposal released last month is even larger than what the Republican Trump had promoted on the campaign trail, providing a potential boost to shipyards that have struggled because budget caps that have limited money funding for ships. Let's welcome Ken from King George, Virginia. I think a lot of that is going to end up in Norfolk, Ken.
Yeah, I was wondering, like Trump's been doing with this whole Air Force One and everything. Is he going to potentially, I hope, look into this whole problems we've been having with the LCS ships.
Elaborate
on
that.
Right now, and they're they haven't been doing so hot.
Bring the audience up to speed with what you're talking about, because I don't know what you're talking about either.
The two littoral combat support ships, I think that is LCS stands for. Yeah, they've been having a number of issues with these things, and that was kind of a spin-off of the whole DDG 1000 ship program.
You're obviously much more knowledgeable about it as far as the details go than I am, but I could say generically, just from watching Donald Trump, President Trump, operate, he's going to get down into the weeds, and he's more probably going to appoint people to get down into the weeds to ferret out some of this stuff.
Well, let me jump in real quick. I know that on the side of the Air Force, when you talked about Air Force One, Air Force One's price tag was supposed to come in about $4 billion, and he said no, that's ridiculous, and he said stop production immediately, and they were going to renegotiate it because we weren't paying $4 billion for a single aircraft, and at the same time he went, and I want to say it was Boeing. Boeing's building the
F-35, I think.
Yeah, well, it was the F-35, and they went to Boeing and said, instead of the F-35, we're going to order more F-18s. And
that's another one of those, kind of like calls on the help you. There's some new technology, and
the F-35s,
they threw a bunch of money at it.
Yeah, well, the F-35s are a lot of money, and they're not doing what they're promised to have done. If you look at it, the F-117, the stealths are still by far and away better than a lot of the tech that we use, and one of the best aircraft we have that it just flies. It is the A-10 that's been around since Vietnam. That's still the best aircraft on the planet, and they keep wanting to put it into mothballs, and it keeps showing itself that the A-10 is the premier workhorse for ground protection.
The A-10 is the Army's favorite plane, believe me.
Oh yeah,
it's not a jet fighter, but it can take out a tank battalion in about 5 minutes.
They're bad to the bone. I remember seeing those when I was still a young kid, and they had the air show up there in Harrisburg, and they're bad to the bone.
Yeah, I saw them in the field. They are. You're right. Ken, let's get back to the Navy. What do you think about this 355 ship proposal? I think it's about time, and I think another thing that they need to do is get rid of these Navy secretaries and the whole defense leadership, the civilian defense leadership, and any political admirals that they have too. Can you believe that they're using biofuel in an aircraft carrier? It costs like 1,000 times more than marine diesel.
But I work with a guy. He just retired from the Air Force, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, great. You want to use all this stuff, but it's not cost effective if it costs $100 a gallon as opposed to something we already have, GP5, that is pennies on the dollar compared to what they want to use with this biodiesel."
Biofuel has never been cost effective. It's funny because they want to use corn to make gasoline, but in order for the corn to make the gasoline, they have to use gasoline. So to make a gallon of ethanol, which is basically corn gasoline, it takes a gallon of gasoline. So it makes absolutely no sense.
And it's so much more expensive. I mean, it's ridiculous.
More expensive because of the processing that goes into taking gasoline and turning corn into gasoline. It just makes no sense.
Stick with using it for drag racing. It seems to work pretty good there.
There you go. Hey, Ken, thanks for calling.
You bet, Hutch. Hey, Ward, have a great day.
You too. Thanks for calling.
412-567-1460 if you'd like to call the show. Yeah, this is a big deal. And right away the union, the unions are all Democrat and whatever. But at Maine's Bath Iron Works, workers worried about the future want to build more ships, but wonder where the billions of dollars will come from. Whether Congress and the government can actually fund it is a whole other ballgame, says Rich Nolan, president of the shipyard's largest union. These union guys kill me. I remember the union president from Carrier came out and dogged Trump for having a little bit of the numbers wrong instead of thanking him for bringing the jobs back.
Yeah.
They're so ass backwards. America, look at the unions that you're in. I mean, you got to get out of these things.
Well, the thing is, and I said it on the show a long time ago, but since we've gotten new listeners, I'll say it again. There was a time in this country where the unions were necessary.
Where we know that here in Pittsburgh, too.
Absolutely. And people were being taken advantage of, and they were working 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks, and they needed somebody to come in and stand up for them. And the unions did that. Now it's gotten to the point where the unions don't do what the unions used to do. You're basically paying somebody to put you out of work and put you on strike or whatever the case may be, and the little stipend that they give you while you're on strike is absolutely next to nothing. Because I have friends that are in the unions, and I have friends that are on when they go on strike, they make no money. And it's a shame because you're fighting this union's fighting for something that you already got, and
it's kind of like Al Sharpton.
Exactly.
He's out there fighting for something that you already have, and to live in this city, you can't live in this city and not know somebody that's in a union, which was something that always blew me away, because the unions. The steel workers unions and the United Mine Workers unions had a lot to do with what knocked our city down to 28th or 29th city in the country when we used to be in the top 10 or top 15 anyway. Sure. I just never understood that. It was something that I don't know what it is, but anyway, it is what it is. But back to these ships. I mean, this is something that it's going to be. The Navy's revised force structure assessment calls for adding another 47 ships, including an aircraft carrier built in Virginia. I was hoping Ken was going to jump on that, but, Virginia is a big state. He might not have any proximity to it. But 16 large surface warships built in Maine and Mississippi, and 18 attack submarines built in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Virginia. It also calls for more amphibious assault ships, expeditionary transfer docks, and support ships. Now, they used to build those amphibious assault ships here. I don't think they have the infrastructure anymore. I mean, I'm sure they don't. But this is a good thing. For national security, I mean, a larger fleet would be better for both the sailors, who'd enjoy shorter deployments, and for the ships, which would have more downtime for maintenance, says Matthew Paxton, president of the Shipbuilders Council of America, which represents most of the major Navy shipbuilders.
Well, add to that the jobs that are created by having to build more ships. I mean, it's all, it goes back to that line that made Carville famous. It's the economy, stupid. That's exactly what it is. I mean, the more we build up the military, the more we build the economy, because that puts more workers to work who have more money to spend, that spend more money to put more workers to work, and that's how you drive an economy. That's how it works.
Well, now, in fairness, these are going to be taxpayer-driven jobs, so there also has to be
there has to be a way. There has to be a way of funding it, and I understand it. How about
increase
start
manufacturing?
Well, we can increase manufacturing. We can, maybe if we just get the people that owe us millions of dollars in tax money to pay us, maybe we could use some of that money to build a boat.
That's true. We could make it the USS Al Sharpton.
Yeah,
it'd be a PT boat. It would be a PT boat.
It'd be one of them swift boats that carry
PT-73. 412-567-1460 with a McHale's Navy reference there for you older folks. But, you know, we're on the verge, man. We're right here. The thing, when I read that line from that union president, you know what I thought about? I thought about oil, and I thought about gas, and I thought about refineries. We have all the tools under the ground of our exceptional nation. And I also believe in divine intervention, and I believe that the natural resources were placed under our feet to fuel our growth as a Christian nation. Lord, I really do, man. I believe that. I think that's the reason there's so many deer around here. I mean, I think that it's just a place for people to succeed. And I think that we can. We have to get rid of the political correctness, like you said. It's an absolute tactic against us, started by the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev, to be specific. But about 2 years ago, I was talking to a guy at work, and I said, and this is back when Obama was a thunder cloud, a rain cloud over us. You know, there was no Donald Trump in the making or anything.
At what point wasn't he a rain cloud over us?
Right, but this was when it was real bad, when there was no viable candidate that was going to beat him, and I'm thinking, oh my God,
no end in sight.
This goes on another 4 years, you know, we're doomed. But I remember telling him, you know, we're at a place in history right now that is pivotal. We're either going to come out of this and just soar, or we're going to be trampled down by these communists that call themselves Democrats. And right now, I'm just super optimistic, man. You know, I'm watching this, and I'm watching the Democrats melt down. I'm really disappointed in Fox News. I thought they would be a better purveyor of the news, but they're really not, man. I watch them, and Chris Wallace is up there today on Fox News Sunday, and he's trumpeting this fake news about the Russian hack. And I'm thinking they're part of it too, man.
Well, here's the thing. There's so many real quick, easy wins for us. And, you know, of course the mainstream media is not going to report it, but, you know, I said it before and it sounded like I was doing it as part of a joke, but I honestly believe that one of the first things after we repeal all of Obama's illegal executive orders and we get rid of Obamacare, which is a travesty to mankind, I think that the first thing that we should do is, and in fact, Congress has already started to put together legislation to defund the UN. We're going to quit paying them money. We're going to quit paying them $8 million a year for them to tell us what to do. I think that's huge. I think that, you know, part of the outrage that is currently in the House because of that is what this administration did to Israel, and we have to start by, you know, and that's exactly what will scare the absolute crap out of George Soros. The whole globalism thing. Once we get rid of the UN and get them out of our country, I say throw them out. You know, you guys want to get together in Sweden or Stockholm or wherever it is. Have a nice day. All right, let's take the UN. Well, first thing you'd have to do is take the building, because it's a really nice building in Manhattan. Take the building in Manhattan, fumigate it, you know, because most of those people stink. And then
get all the bugs out of it, and all the intercept equipment.
Yeah, get all that cleaned out, and you know, make it an apartment building. Hell, put Trump's name on it and rent apartments out of it.
Give it to vets, homeless vets.
There you go, homeless vets. I mean, we got a homeless vets in a really nice part of uptown Manhattan. That would be outstanding.
It would. 412-567-1460. Get on the show. This is probably the last chance you'll get. But, you know, Ward, something that you can really tell with the success of Donald Trump, the media is exposing themselves every single day. You know, with the advent of the jobs that have been relocated, or, you know, the ones that were projected to go to Mexico, there's an economic meltdown is starting in Mexico. A lot of people don't realize that the number one gross domestic product in Mexico is United States dollars coming in from the United States. And those are starting to be a little constricted. And now you're having, and you're going to see more in the future of economic meltdown and even riots getting ready to start in Mexico. And what does the United States media do? They start running sob stories about Mexicans losing their jobs to Trump's America. Well, and this is from the Daily Caller News Foundation. Philip Stuckey brings this to us. But, you know, he says media outlets ran an Associated Press story Friday that outlined just how terrible President-elect Donald Trump will be for Mexican jobs. Why do we care about that?
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, that opening sentence makes no sense. I mean, I don't care about Mexican jobs. I wish them well.
I'll care about Mexican jobs after every American has a job. Then I'll start worrying about them.
Even then, I don't give a damn if they have a job or not. I mean, I'm sure that they're nice people, and I'm sure that they deserve to have jobs, but that isn't my concern. I'm not a Mexican. I'm not sworn to. I mean, I swore allegiance to the United States. I'm concerned about United States, you know, and United States people having jobs, not Mexicans, and even our friends in Canada. God bless you. I don't care whether or not you're employed or not.
Do your own thing. You know, you look at Mexico, and you look at the natural resources that God gave them. It's their government that's holding them back. It's not the United States. They have some of the most beautiful vacation resorts. I mean, the natural resources, the beaches and the oil and everything that they have, the climate. They have the climate. Mexico could literally, actually they do, but they could feed the world. When you go into a grocery store in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in February, and you get produce in there, that's not coming from the United States. Some of it's coming from Florida, and some of it's coming from California. But the vast majority of that stuff's coming from Mexico and Central America because they've been blessed with a climate. And why they don't capitalize on that is because of their government.
Well, part of it's their government, part of it's the drug cartels. Because if you remember back when you were growing up and you'd watch the game shows, and on every game show, that was one of the big prizes where you'd go to Puerto Vallarta. And yeah,
Cancun.
Now you can, I mean, Cancun's still okay, but I mean, if you're trying to go to Puerto Vallarta, that's pretty much you're taking your own life in your hands.
Well, the same way with the guys down in Fort Bliss. You know, they wanted to go to Juarez all the time, and you can't go to Juarez now. Juarez is a war zone.
Well, it's the same as Puerto Vallarta. I mean, you could go to Cancun. Cancun's still okay. There's still places on that side of Mexico that the police look out for Americans because they want tourists and they want the tourist money. The other side, they don't care about the tourist money. They want to, you know, be thugs and drug dealers.
And, you know, I will say this, too, to United States citizens and our young and some not so young, stop buying the shit. Stop doing drugs, and it ends. The Mexican cartels die if you stop buying it. This is something that people get mad at when I bring this up, but I'm telling you, the economy is two things. It's a supplier and it's a consumer. If you don't have both, you don't have an economy. If you stop consuming the stuff that the cartels are selling, the cartels are dead.
Well, once Trump builds the wall, we don't got to worry about Mexico no more.
We'll have to worry about detox centers. That's right. And we can build them. It's better than prisons. You know, we get this thing under control. But that's just the truth. I mean, it sucks. It doesn't sound good. I'm not trying to blame America for the drug problem, but who else do you blame? The people that are putting the dollars into it.
You know, there was one more thing I wanted to bring up before, the show ended. Did you notice that when, Obama came out and expelled those 35 Russian diplomats when he said that there was hacking involved, et cetera, et cetera. And then the part that got me was like 3 days later is when they said we showed the final report to the president. Now this is 3 days later after he's already expelled these diplomats is when he saw the final report. Now apparently what Vladimir Putin did was he used Michelle Obama's words against her when she was out campaigning for Hillary, and she said, "When they go low, we go high," and that was their mantra for a little bit there, right before "You're all deplorable," and so basically Putin did the same thing. Even he came out and said, even though it's in our right to expel all the American ambassadors that we have in our country for this, we're not going to do that because we know that this is a lame duck president who's trying to delegitimize the incoming administration. So we're not going to do that. And I thought that was awesome.
And not only that, but we're going to invite all of the children to the New Year's festivities in the Kremlin. That was pretty cool, of all the people stationed in Russia that were from America. But anyway, we're out of time, Ward.
Wait, before you do that, did you see who the rumor is who Trump invited to the inauguration?
Well, I had heard tell that he was going to invite Benjamin Netanyahu. I don't know if he ever did that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard Bibi was coming, and I think that would be outstanding.
I do too. I mean, there's already going to be so much security there.
Oh yeah, just to kick Obama in the nuts one more time. Just that's for nothing else. Hey, talk to you later. We're going to go hang out in the White House. Oh, you don't live there anymore. Yeah, take his pass. He doesn't. He can't even get through security because he can't pass a background check.
One of the things, and they ought to put an Israeli flag up and everything. I mean, what John Kerry, Samantha Power, and Barack Obama did with that UN resolution is just something that, God, I couldn't be a member of the Democrat Party right now. I just don't see how average Americans put up with this, man. It's beyond me. Anyway, we're just about out of time. So how can people reach you on social media? And that's about it.
Yeah, I still have an account on Twitter @Wardy22, and I'm on Gab @Wardy. Still trying to get thrown off Twitter. So I haven't succeeded yet, and I still run the page on Steel City Resistance on Facebook, facebook.com/Steel City Resistance. You can post anything there, especially deplorable type stuff, because I love my deplorable fans, and that's pretty much all I have.
All right, Ward. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening live and in the chat room, and you heard them, man. They want you to come in there and co-host Cold War Radio on Monday, but we'll talk about that later. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr. on Facebook and Gab, Bird's Eye View on Twitter, GoFundMe.com/Cold War Radio if you can help us out there. The Wayne Dupree program will be Monday, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Thanks for letting us into your life for 1 hour. Gary Owen, take us out. God bless. You're listening to Steel City Resistance on We Are America Radio.
But for more than 3 decades, I have also had the tremendous fortune to travel the world, and as part of that experience, to learn about the goodness and beauty of Islam. As a college student in the 1970s, I spent a summer traveling through Indonesia, taking in the wonderful landscape, culture, and people of Java and Bali. Despite my long hair, my earring, and my obvious American appearance, I was welcomed throughout that country in a way that is a reflection of the tremendous warmth of Islamic cultures and societies. Like the president during his childhood years in Jakarta, I came to see Islam not how it is often misrepresented, but for what it is, how it is practiced every day by well over 1 billion Muslims worldwide, a faith of peace and tolerance and great diversity. And if you permit me, or I should say, اسمح بعد إندونيسيا سافرت إلى مصر وهناك درست عربية في جامعة أمريكية في القاهرة، وهذا في سنة 1975 و 76.
This is the director of the Central Intelligence Agency that is trying to convince you that Russia hacked the elections to get Donald Trump elected president. Think about that.
أنا كنت طالب وشباب لما درست عربية، لكن الآن نسيت أكثرية اللغة. كسلان، لسان كسلان. متأسف لكن ممكن إن شاء الله سوف
Inshallah.
عربية مرة ثانية إن شاء الله.
If it's okay with Allah, God willing. Head of the CIA.
Now don't tell the folks who don't speak Arabic what I said, okay? But I did spend time as an undergraduate at the American University in Cairo in the 1970s, and time spent with classmates from Egypt, from Jordan, from Palestine, and around the world, who taught me that whatever our differences of nationality or race or religion or language, there are certain aspirations that we all share: to get an education, to provide for our families, to practice our faith freely, to live in peace and security. And during a 25-year career in government, I was privileged to serve in positions across the Middle East, as a political officer with the State Department and as a CIA station chief in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, I saw how our Saudi partners fulfilled their duty as custodian of the 2 holy mosques of Mecca and Medina. I marveled at the majesty of the Hajj and the devotion of those who fulfilled their duty as Muslims by making that pilgrimage. And in all my travels, the city I have come to love most is Al-Quds, Jerusalem, where 3 great faiths come together. So much attention is paid to the divisions in that wonderful city.
He uses Al-Quds, the Muslim term for Jerusalem. This guy is the head of the Central Intelligence Agency. They were going to block him, but then Benghazi happened. And all of the Intelligence Committee Gang of 8 who were in, well, not necessarily in, but who were completely 100% briefed on what was going on in Benghazi, stopped the opposition, and now he is the head of the Central Intelligence Agency.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, especially those of you in the chat room, Norway has shown up, and I will tell you, on Tuesday, on Cold War Radio, Norway will be joining the program, and he's got a lot of information about Islam and its effect on the Netherlands. Looking forward to that completely. So make sure you tune in 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Cold War Radio on Tuesday. If we do go to Monday, it won't be this week. It'll be the following week. We have to get the all the voting at the website squared away. That's steelcityresistance.blogspot.com. In the right-hand column, you can vote on what I should do with the hour we're going to lose on Cold War Radio on Friday nights. Now I just want to turn a little attention to the Republican Party and how certain aspects of that or certain cliques in that party are totally corrupt. You remember the Senate Intelligence Committee asked to have, or was it the Senate Intelligence Committee or the House? Might have been the House. But as this Russia hacked the election fake news came out, they wanted a briefing. And the CIA and the Director of National Intelligence, the DNI, denied Congress that oversight. But then a few days later, Songbird McCain and Light in the Loafers Lindsey Graham miraculously landed a briefing with the DNI, with Clapper. Let's listen to how that went, and with special attention on how scripted this sounds. How completely scripted, number one. And number two, how lightly they are taking war with Russia. I could strangle Lindsey Graham about this. Let's listen. And the other thing, I want you to listen during this clip, because I got to warn you, it's 6.5 minutes long. But when Admiral Rogers is asked to lie, Admiral Rogers got a couple points of credibility in my book over this interview. Listen to the crickets when Admiral Rogers is asked to lie. And the political hack, who was a 3-star general in the Air Force, James Clapper, has to jump in and talk for him. Let's listen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to follow up, General Clapper, during the Cold War, we had a strategy, and we had Radio Free Europe, and we had the Voice of America. Senator Graham, who will be speaking next, will attest that when our recent trip, they don't have a strategy. They don't have a counter-propaganda. The United States of America I'm talking about. And we've got to develop that strategy, even if it encompasses the internet and social media. But they are doing pretty significant stuff, particularly in the Baltics and Eastern Europe. Would you agree, Senator Graham?
Yes. Appreciate being before the committee. Thank you. So, yes, I would. Would you agree with me that Radio Free Europe is outdated?
I'm frankly not up on.
Well, it says radio, and a lot of people don't listen to the radio like they used to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, radio is a very popular mode in many parts of the world.
Radio's big in your world?
My world?
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah, I don't listen to the radio much either.
So, Lindsey Graham apparently does not know that in large segments of the world, particularly the third world and the Middle East, really do listen to radio a lot. But Lindsey Graham knows everything. Just listen.
So the bottom line is you're going to be challenged tomorrow by the president-elect. Are you okay with being challenged?
Absolutely.
Do you both welcome it?
We do.
Do you think it's appropriate?
We do.
Are you ready for the task?
I think so.
Good. Is there a difference between espionage and interfering in an election?
Yes, espionage implies to me at least, a passive.
Yeah. Okay.
Passive collection, and this was much more activist.
So when it comes to espionage, we better be careful about throwing rocks.
What a moron. This is after a Republican has been elected president, but before he takes command. And these little nobodies think that they can just come in here and just, change foreign policy and strike. You're going to hear it next. When I shut this mic off, the next thing you're going to hear is you're going to hear Lindsey Graham damn near saying, let's go to war with Russia. And the president-elect isn't even in the Oval Office yet. This guy has no respect. These people think they're in charge. South Carolina, get your shit together. Arizona, you too. You're going to be held accountable for these people.
When it comes to interfering in our election, we better be ready to throw rocks. Do you agree with that?
That's a good metaphor.
I think what Obama did was throw a pebble. I'm ready to throw a rock. Would I be justified as a United States Senator taking your information about Russia's involvement in our election and what they're doing throughout the world and be more aggressive than President Obama if I chose to?
That's your choice, Senator.
Do you think he was justified in imposing new sanctions based on what Russia did?
I do.
Okay. So to those of you who want to throw rocks, you're going to get a chance here soon. And if we don't throw rocks, we're going to make a huge mistake. Admiral Rogers, is this going to stop until we make the cost higher?
We have got to change the dynamic here because we're on the wrong end of the cost equation.
Yeah, you got that right. Could it be Republicans' next election?
This is not about parties per se.
Yeah, it's not like we're so much better at cybersecurity than Democrats.
Right.
Now, I don't know what Putin was up to, but I don't remember anything about Trump in the election. Now, if Trump goes after the Iranians, which I hope he will, are they capable of doing this?
He calls his president-elect by his last name. Trump, Trump, Trump. Not Mr. Trump, not President-elect Trump. This 5'2" queer sits up there and totally disrespects the person who is going to run national security for the United States of America. Lindsey Graham, you're not running anything. This infuriates me on so many levels. That's why I'm picking it apart, and that's why I'm playing it for a second time. All right, let's continue. And pay attention to Admiral Rogers when the question comes.
They clearly have a range of cyber capability, and they have been willing to go offensively both We've seen that in the United States and the one dam.
So if Trump takes on China, which I hope he will, are they capable of doing this?
Yes.
Okay. So we got a chance as a nation to lay down a marker for all would-be adversaries. Do you agree with that?
Yes, and I'd be the first to acknowledge we need to think about this broadly.
Yeah, and we should take that opportunity before it's too late.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with me that the foundation of democracy is political parties, and when one political party is compromised, all of us are compromised?
Yes.
So Lindsey Light in the Loafers Graham is saying that the Democrat Party and the Republican Party are the same. And to him, they are. But to us, they're clearly not. And in the last snippet, he doesn't just want to go to war with Russia. He wants to go to war with China too. And if Trump doesn't do that, he's missing an opportunity. My God.
Sir.
All right. Now, as to what to do, you say you think this was approved at the highest level of government in Russia, generally speaking. Is that right?
That's what we said.
Okay, who's the highest level of government?
He asked the question to the admiral. The admiral had a little bit of dignity and didn't answer. But Clapper did.
Well, the highest is President Putin.
Do you think a lot happens in Russia big that he doesn't know about?
Not very many.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Certainly none that are politically sensitive in another country.
Okay. Now, as we go forward and try to deter this behavior, we're going to need your support now and in the future. So I want to let the President-elect know that it's okay to challenge the intel. You're absolutely right to want to do so. But what I don't want you to do is undermine those who are serving our nation in this arena until you're absolutely sure they need to be undermined. And I think they need to be uplifted, not undermined. North Korea. Let me give you an example of real-world stuff that he's going to have to deal with Trump. Do you believe that North Korea is trying to develop an ICBM to hit the United States, or that could be used to hit the United States?
That could be, yes.
Do you agree with that, Admiral Rogers?
Yes.
So when the North Korean leader says that they're close to getting ICBM, he's probably in the realm of truth?
He's certainly working aggressively to do that.
And if the President of the United States says it won't happen, he's going to have to come to y'all to figure out how far along they are, because you would be his source for how far along they are. Is that right?
I'd hope we'd be
the source.
Yeah, I hope he would talk to you too. And here's what I hope he realizes. That if he has to take action against North Korea, which he may have to do, I intend to support him. But he needs to explain to the American people why. And one of the explanations he'll give is based on what I was told by the people who are in the fight. And let me tell you this. You don't wear uniforms, but you're in the fight. And we're in a fight for our lives. I just got back from the Baltics, Ukraine, and Georgia. If you think it's bad here, you ought to go there. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time now not to throw pebbles, but to throw rocks. I wish we were not here. If it were up to me, we'd all live in peace. But Putin's up to no good, and he better be stopped. And Mr. President-elect, when you listen to these people, you can be skeptical, but understand they're the best among us, and they're trying to protect us. Thank you all.
They're just as crooked as Obama, and he waited until the end to call him president-elect.
You on full status, you on Social Security, you got low income, you disability, minority, get Obama phone. Obama in president, you know. He gave us a phone.
Gave you a phone.
More. Keep Obama in president, you know. He gave us a phone.
Gave you a phone.
More. Rami, you suck. Rami, you suck. Rami, you suck. Rami, you suck. You on full status, you on Social Security. You got low income, you disability. Minority got Obama phone. Minority got Obama phone. Minority got Obama phone. Minority got Obama phone. He gave us a 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 phone. Keep Obama in president, you know. He gave us a phone.
Gave you a phone.
More. Keep Obama in president, you know. He gave us a phone.
Gave you a phone.
More. You on full status, you on Social Security. You got low income, you disability. Minority got Obama phone. Minority got Obama phone. Minority got Minority got Minority got Minority got Obama phone.
Honoring Cold War veterans. After World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union began a 46-year-long struggle for political and military supremacy known as the Cold War. Soldiers of both sides did not do battle directly, though thousands of Americans were killed, wounded, or went missing in operations during the Cold War, separate from Korea and Vietnam. During these tense relations with the Soviet Union, generations of American servicemen and women stood ready at ambiguous, politically sensitive listening posts, anticipating the first strike. Neither side wanted to unleash the world-changing devastation that brought them to the point of mutually assured destruction. Standing fierce in the face of an overwhelming enemy, these veterans answered the call, drafted or volunteered, as America needed its guardians of freedom, and they were there. The U.S. government has never formally recognized the Cold War or its veterans.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Many Americans died in operations that remain, even to this day, unacknowledged. That entailed heroism and loss that have yet to be revealed to a grateful nation. We should remember and honor those whose sacrifice brought about a victorious conclusion to the Cold War, to the enormous betterment of the United States and the world.
Because a considerable part of the Cold War was covert, 20 million veterans served without fanfare or appreciation. Cold War veterans have been denied respect, remembrance, and recognition for too long. It is past time for our country to say thank you.
We are here to change that. By awarding a Cold War Service Medal to the veterans, they shall no longer be ignored. We are asking for your help and would like you to write, email, or call to request that President Obama honor his pledge to Cold War veterans and use an executive order to create this medal, finally recognizing these deserving veterans.
All right, everybody. I want to thank you for listening to Steel City Resistance. We got time for one more call if somebody decides to call in. If not, then we will part ways. But in the meantime, one more promo. Call in now. It's almost over.
Is the sweetheart you married the husband you expected him to be? Has the war created new problems for you in your marriage? To answer these and other personal problems brought in by your friends and neighbors, ARID presents John J. Anthony, founder of the famed Marital Relations Institute, in a brand new program of daily sessions of kindly and helpful advice. Just as Mr. Anthony, by examples in this studio, is helping thousands of men and women solve their personal problems, ARID, too, is helping thousands to solve the important personal problem of underarm perspiration. ARID helps you avoid perspiration damage to clothes and safeguards friendships. Use ARID every day. It helps stop perspiration safely, and at the same time, ARID is a most effective deodorant.
Did a headache spoil the day for you? Are you still feeling a little miserable and upset? Well, of course, it would have been wise to take Alka-Seltzer at work earlier in the day. But don't wait now. Take it right away. And next time, remember that Alka-Seltzer is first aid for relief from headache. Alka-Seltzer is easy to take, pleasant tasting, too. Here's all you do. Dissolve 1 or 2 Alka-Seltzer tablets in a glass of water, then drink it. Since Alka-Seltzer is a solution when you take it, the pain-relieving analgesic sodium acetylsalicylate is ready to go right to work. And say, that fizz that creates thousands of sparkling bubbles gives speed to Alka-Seltzer's relief-giving qualities. Yes, it gets there fast to give fast relief. So remember, first aid for relief from headache is Alka-Seltzer.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening live in the chat room. I had a lively chat room tonight. A lot of good callers. It was a really good show tonight. GoFundMe.com/Cold War Radio and GoFundMe.com/WD Show. We're going to go nationally syndicated soon. I can feel it, ladies and gentlemen. But thanks for letting us into your life for an hour. And Jacob Seals, a new Steel City Resistance outro. Funkin' good time. Go to rsbn.tv and you can get all of Jacob's music. Anyway, it's been a pleasure here on a Sunday evening. Looking forward to a work week because I look forward to going to work. I hope you guys do too. Actually, I say that now because I'm getting ready to retire. But thanks for coming along for the ride. We will see you on Tuesday. Actually, you'll catch me Monday for the Wayne Dupree Show tomorrow, but Tuesday, Cold War Radio, back on the air. God bless.